Hello, everyone, and welcome to tonight's event. My name is Josie, and I'm here with Madison Street Books, and we are so excited tonight to be hosting Melissa and Jose in celebration of Melissa's new book, Dreaming of You. In case you didn't already know, Dreaming of You is a macabre novel in verse of loss, longing, and identity crises following a poet who resurrects pop star Selena from the dead, out this month from Astra House. A little bit of housekeeping before we get started. Please feel free to introduce yourselves and hang out in the chat. We love to see that. We love your excitement. If at any point during the conversation you have a question for either Melissa or Jose, at the bottom of your screen you'll see a little Ask a Question button. You can throw it in there and we'll get to it at some point in the evening. So without further ado, I'll introduce our authors and let us get started. Melissa Lozada-Oliva is the child of Guatemalan and Colombian immigrants. She co-hosts the podcast Say More and is a member of the band Melly and the Specs. She holds an MFA in poetry from NYU, and her writing has been featured in Remezcla, Paper, The Guardian, The Breakbeat Poets Volume 4, Wirecutter, Vulture, Bustle, Glamour, The Huffington Post, Muzzle Magazine, The Poetry Project, Audible, and BBC Mundo. She is from Massachusetts and lives in New York City. José Olivarez is the son of Mexican immigrants. His debut book of poems, Citizen Illegal, was a finalist for the Penn Gene Stein Award and a winner of the 2018 Chicago Review of Books Poetry Prize. It was named a top book of 2018 by NPR and the New York Public Library. Along with Felicia Chavez and Willie Perdomo, he co-edited the poetry anthology, The Breakbeat Poets Volume 4, Latinx. So if everyone's ready, I will turn it over to our authors and let us get started.
Hey. Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? What's going on, Melissa?
Not much. I have my phone and my laptop open. There's all the ways we've done gadgets, and communication is very funny. There's a lot of wires involved. Do you mind if I read a poem first? I feel like that would make it easy.
Yeah. So this is what I was thinking.
Cool.
So what I would love it if you read a few poems, maybe a couple from a few different sections, however many you want to read. And then I have some questions, cool. And then if the audience has questions, we can see where this goes. Does that sound good?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Cool.
Okay, I'm gonna read this poem from the first part. It's called "I Watched Selena's Open Casket Funeral." I asked Mommy why it was like that. Open casket. She tells me that's just the way we do it. We look death in the face. She doesn't know about the death industry, the money made from pumping a body full of pink liquid, how they peel a face off then back on, prick needles into the corners of eyes to make you look like you're sleeping. At night, she will pace her empty house with the lights on, holding her hand to her chest, while her heart thumps wildly, trying to believe in the glass of water in her hand. Maria Jose asks me if I ever get those scary feelings that jerk me awake before I fall asleep. While driving, Stephanie tells me not to put my feet up on the dashboard because if there's a car accident, God forbid, my legs will break backward. Abuelita needs a note from the doctor in order to get her citizenship. The note reads, "Seems very nervous, was looking around and scratching her scalp, picking her nails, perhaps signs of early dementia." Olivia says if I ever find her body hacked to bits in a ditch, most likely it was the man who did it. On Super Bowl Sunday, Stephanie sends us a picture of her husband with his tongue out, all goofy, all playful, gripping a bloody package of ribs. The word carne means meat, but also flesh. Mommy taught me this when she described the way a sewing needle pierced the space between her thumb and pointer finger. It's very easy to picture myself inside every white van I walk by, tied up in the back, twitching and screaming, or at the bottom of every lake, or just choking on a piece of lonely pasta. I can see myself bleeding out on a motel's clean carpet. I can see myself crying over a body, but also being the body. I can see the way I must look to my mother, my abuelita, my sisters, my friends, my fans. Here is my corpse, modest and royal purple. Here is my flower, resting against my chest. Here are my lips, locked and painted red. Here are my rogue baby hairs, gelled in a perfect curl. Here are my almond eyes, closed. I'm so safe. Okay. And I'm going to go into this next section. I left my book at the Strand, and now I don't have an author copy, and that's okay. This is called Karaoke Interlude. Tonight, it's somebody's birthday, or it's nobody's birthday, or it's the anniversary of the third or fourth time we heard this song. Some of us sit all night flipping through the binder, either because we don't want to embarrass ourselves tonight, or because we are trying to find the song. One that we can sing well, but one that everyone will join in on too. Someone sings a song we don't know, and we turn away and talk shit, but still feel happy for them. For a moment, we can become someone else. What's the difference between anyone and an Elvis impersonator? Us and acne tweens dancing in front of the TV. Us and bloated men with toothpicks on the long truck ride home. Us and manic single moms slicing carrots by the sink. Us and horny middle schoolers sweating to Stacy's mom. Maria singing Gasolina by Daddy Yankee because it's the only song they have in Spanish, and also weirdly she likes it. Hannah singing The Calling because finally they're in love. Dawn got here early and has been practicing Strange by Patsy Cline all week. Monica, who leads drag trivia, is drunk again and yelling at everybody. Paloma knows all the words to Careless Whisper and doesn't need to look at the screen. No one likes Courtney, but when she sings Tears Dry on Their Own, her hair flies behind her. Her pink Doc Martens shine. When Linda goes up, everybody goes quiet because she can actually sing. For now, we are Jenny, Patsy, Daddy, Florence, Carly, Robin, Mariah. I do not sing Selena because she's too on the nose. It will always be now, and we can't do anything about it. It is now until it is another now, shaking its head at now, making deals with now, turning past now because it doesn't recognize now anymore. And we are always trying to find the right song. What is the word for getting someone to fall in love with us during karaoke? We know that if somebody loves us, if they really, really love us, they're watching us and every bad thing that ever happened to us sing. Everything is a regurgitation of something that once lived better. We practice into our phones all week and play back our own tiny little voices. We channel the past through us and throw it at the present, which boogies whether we want it to or not into the future. All of us are standing on the present stage as it hurtles upward. How we stop feeling the jolt after a while, the rise. How it slows down the more we sing. How we keep looking down as the words scroll up because they won't let us forget them. So this is also like a love. There's like a you in the story who Melissa is in love with. And when they meet, they talk in sonnets because when you meet someone, it's very awkward. And Morgan Parker once said that our hearts beat in time to iambic pentameter. So I'm going to do this. I haven't done this. It's fun. Okay. Oh, hi. What are you doing here? I'm food shopping for food, to eat it. Wow, wild. I do that all the time. Do you have a favorite food to eat? Yeah, I could think of a few. Not picky. Me too. Well, I don't eat meat. Yeah, same. Or I make vegan choices. Would you ever want to eat something? I mean, I eat all the time. Do you mean together? If you're interested, that is. I'm interested, definitely. Cool. Well, see you around. Oh, sorry. Oops, I thought you're going to the left. No, that was my bad. Please, after you. Okay, I'm going to skip to the last one. Let's play a game. Who are those people? An old couple on their way to the movies. What are their names? What do they fight about? Lorraine and Georgia. They fight about time. Who did they miss and why don't they see them? Their son, Edgar. He went off to the big city. But I thought we were in the big city. There's another big city up in space. Oh, back to aliens, I see. What's Edgar like? Edgar is a dancer and he never dreams. So when he closes his eyes, what happens? Just wet darkness. Just the shadow of stars. If I were a stranger, who would I be? A funny woman I'd like to talk to. Okay, I'm gonna read one more and I'll make it towards the end. Okay. Sorry, I'm like on my laptop. I want to read a Yolanda poem. service on his bed. Sorry. It'll be worth it, I promise. It's just slowly loading. Okay. Okay. All right, I'm just gonna read this one. What if I reclaimed the woman who framed her own murder to get her husband's life insurance, chopped up her father and stepmother to protect her lesbian lover, strangled the girls her mother loved more, and pulled out all their teeth? What if I reclaimed the woman who put arsenic in the family dinner and watched all their heads drop, seduced and murdered her professor, then framed him for suicide, rescued her favorite author, then chopped off his legs because he killed her favorite character? What if I reclaimed the woman who held up the gun she bought for protection under her own name? The woman who pointed it at a long arched back, coated with black, shiny hair, and said, "Wait, don't go." Okay, I'll stop it there.
Awesome. Thank you so much for reading some poems for us. Cool. So I guess, first of all, it's been a crazy, I don't know what I'm trying to say. I guess the question that I'm trying to ask is like, how are you feeling today? In the aftermath of having released the book, doing all these readings and talks, most of them virtually, I imagine. Like, where are you at today, and how are you feeling?
Wow, thank you for asking that. Yeah, I feel it's kind of weird. It's like this book was sold and then the pandemic happened. So I've been like waiting for as long as the pandemic has been around for this to like arrive. And then it did. And then I had like an overwhelming moment. And then it's been really fun. And also I feel like it's passing me by, and virtual readings are very weird. And my soul is like they like chip away at my soul a little bit, but I'm very grateful I get to do them. Yeah,
I totally feel you.
yeah,
I've got a chance to do a couple in-person readings since the summer,
yeah.
and it's
It's like
unreal
we
how
can't go
good it
back.
feels. It's just, yeah, Zoom is just, or shout out to Crowdcast. It's different. It's not the
Yeah,
same at all.
yeah,
So one of the things that I was thinking about is, so in the jacket copy of the book, it says that Dreaming of You grapples with the cost of being seen for your truest self. And I'm curious what you learned about what it costs to be your truest self. And did your thinking change as you wrote the book and as you've gone through this process?
yeah. I think like writing it, I think I was really interested in like the ugliest parts of representation, or just like this surface level representation where you're like, okay, I'm seen. But then it's like, what if you go a little deeper and you see something that that you don't like about yourself? Like when someone posts a picture of you and you're like, I don't like the way that I look. Or when someone's like, remember when you said that? And you're like, wait, I don't remember saying that. I'm really sorry. And I also think like we can't have this like illusion that we're like perfect all the time. And a lot of like what we see of Selena is like these recordings, these like there's these like montages of YouTube videos where she's like being very, very charming and sweet and funny and just like alive. And that we don't see like this like ugly stuff because technology was different then. We don't see like the breadth of her. So like writing this, I feel like I was like, okay, I went to myself to be like honest all the time, even if that means like tapping into things that are really ugly and like taboo and like saying what I mean. And also like, as like a woman, I've like learned to never say what I mean. And now I'm like, I want to do that.
I'm really struck. so one of the things that I noticed that I was interested in is that idea of like showing the full breadth and really being honest and uh, I don't know, just like trying to capture the entirety of human experience, right? Um, comes through not just in like the things that you write about, but also the style. Like you choose to keep like certain ha-has or like LOLs. You keep, you know, like the little ticks, the likes in some of the poems, right? Not all of the poems, but occasionally you do. And I wondered, let me take a look. How did I phrase this question? I mean, one, like I just really love it and enjoyed it. So I wondered, how did you decide what to revise out of your writing, and what was the philosophy? I guess you explained it already, but what was your philosophy in writing this book? Not just like the content, but in terms of your style choices, what you wanted to come across.
Yeah. It's been cool, like looking back at drafts and seeing what I've cut out. Like in the beginning, there's a line where I'm like, "You and me are having sex to a movie," but like in the first draft, I like say what it is, and then I like go on a little bit more. Yeah, it's interesting. Where I'm like, okay, I didn't need to say that, but I did need to say this. I think generally, like, I'm really in love with how people speak and like the stupid shit people say every day in small talk. And it was like something I missed a lot during the pandemic, just like stupid conversations. Like, yeah, there was a lot of traffic today. And, you know, at the end of the day, and like when it comes down to it, like, you know, just shooting fish in a barrel. I don't know. This is like, it's like we all like want to be around each other, but sometimes we have nothing to say. And I read this book when I was younger by this author named Ned Vizzini, who has since passed and is very sad. But I noticed that he did that. He would be like, he wrote these like little essays as like a teenager, and he would put in the like comma ha-has, and I just thought it was so funny because I had never seen it before. And it's like, I don't know, things are funny because they're true. So yeah, I wanted to do that. And like, I think because like coming from like a slam spoken word background, I am very like in tune with how people are speaking and like making poetry accessible, and that's part of it. I think putting in those like little ticks, as you said. Hope that answers
for
it.
Sure. I really loved it because so much of like the movements in poetry are towards concision. You know what I mean? Like we need to make everything as short. We need to remove all the extra clutter. But to me, I'm like, why? Like, sometimes I feel like that's the right choice, but it doesn't mean it's always the right choice. And also, in general, I feel like there's something capitalist about this impulse to make everything into its most consumable self.
Yeah, I know. It's like, it's not that it's like minimalist, but it's like, I don't know. Yeah, it's like, how digestible is this? You know? Like sometimes you're gonna have to like burp up a few idioms and like weird sayings that are stuck in your head. Yeah.
Yeah, I just think it's cool because the other thing that I notice about poetry is that when people do kind of choose to stick to traditions too closely, their poems start to resemble each other sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And in a way, you know, what you're doing here is really, I think that there's like an incredible voice that comes through, and some of those markings are like how you lead. It's almost like a signature. You know what I mean? Like reading this book, I knew it was your book even without seeing your name attached, you know?
Wow, thank you.
Yeah, anyway, I think that it's dope, is basically what I'm trying to say.
Thank you.
All right. So you read one of my favorite poems in the book, which is the Crush Sonnets. I wanted to ask you, you know, there's like a lot of love poems in the book and different types of love poems. Like there's also, in addition to like romantic love, I think that there's also like sisterly love throughout and like friendship love.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, like, in your opinion, what makes for a good love poem? Like, what is the recipe for a good love poem? And then what are some of your favorite love poems?
Oh my God, man, all these questions are so good. I I think okay, I'm trying to remember. I don't know. I I think all good love poems are like showing like something that hasn't come to fruition. And they have to do with like moments passing by and like how you want to like leave something like frozen, and in the poet's eye, like only the poet notices it and nobody else does. um, and I think it has something to do with like tension and constraint, and I think like the sonnet is like a perfect love poem for that reason, because as like Morgan Parker said, our hearts beat to iambic pentameter, but it's also like 14 lines and 10 syllables a line, and just this like, I don't know, this like romance is so beautiful in the beginning because you aren't like with that person all the time, and like there's all of this like there's like time apart from each other, and there's like all of the constraints of like everyday life are like up against you, and you're like pushing up against it, and it's like erotic. Carl Phillips said that, I think, like there's like an eroticness to constraint. So I think somewhere like that. I think one of my favorite love poems. Okay, well, Nicole Seeley's Object Permanence. I'm aware the stars in the sky are already dead. Oh wait, no, sorry. She says, "Oh, I will miss you when I'm dead." And oh man, I like Hala Aliana has some really good ones in the 29th year. And I really like Lori Graham. I think that's her name, Lori Graham. She has a bunch of these like, she has this love poem about like watching her lover get off a train. Ada Limon too, with the horse, we are ready to run. Okay, I should have a catalog of good love poems now that you made me think to write them down. What are your favorite ones? Yeah.
Well, I love Object Permanence. Matthew Oltzman has this one called Love Poem Disguised as a Mountain Dew Commercial.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, you don't know that one?
I might.
Okay. It's really good. I love it a lot. Um, what are some of my other favorite ones? There's one, I can't remember the name of it. Uh, I'll send it to you later, but it's basically it's a woman writing kind of like how they would split up everything if they were to get divorced. And so it starts with like material objects, but then it goes to like thinking about like also their children and things that aren't material. And and it ends with like, it's not going to happen. We're not going to divide these things, but the way, even seeing how intertwined they are through that kind of examination of what the loss will be is really beautiful.
Wow.
So those are some of the ones that come to mind for me.
Yeah.
But yeah,
cool.
Object Permanence
I love that.
Beautiful.
A classic. Yeah, I feel like everybody, like so many people read that at their weddings.
Yeah. I feel like there's probably like a list somewhere of like good poems to read at weddings.
Yeah, right.
Somebody should make it.
I feel that one is so good too, because like it's like poets like know that you're like, every poet knows that they're going to die, and some people don't. And like that poem is all about like, one day we're going to die, but for now, like we have this.
Absolutely. To me, that's kind of like, you mentioned Ada Limon. That's what makes her poem so beautiful, is that they begin in, the way I always talk about it is like, look, I don't care about horses, but when Ada Limon writes about horses, all of a sudden, I'm like, wow, I see horses everywhere. You know what I mean? It's like all of a sudden the horses are they're coming out of me. I feel them so much more. And I feel emotionally attached to them. So to me, that's kind of like the power. I don't know what to say about the power, but that's something that good writing can do, is all of a sudden it gives you a window
Yeah.
into something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So one of the things that I was curious about is, and I just want to say for the audience, I see we have one question already. If other people have questions, you can add them in the ask a question feature. So maybe I'll ask one more and then we can take whatever this question is. Um, so one of the things that I was thinking about is I got a chance to go to a concert recently, and I miss concerts so much.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, live music is so wonderful, and it got me thinking about like what would what is like my dream stage? Like if I was given all the resources in the world and I could put together a show, what would I put together? Like, but thinking also about like, adding poetry to the show, right? Not just like my dream music act, but like if I could curate a show, uh,
Wow.
like who would I have perform? Like what is the setup? How do I want it to feel in there? And I was curious if you had any thoughts or like dream performances for yourself. Like what goes into making a good show?
Whoa. I think I'm a big fan of like a variety show, and
Mm,
like I love seeing like comedians open up for music acts, or like even like poetry, or like my friend did this really cool. My friend Artida Lapudi did this amazing multimedia show that was about like grief and like choosing to not kill yourself. And
mm,
she had like these videos in the background, and she was singing and reading poems, and also like doing comedy. And there was like, this music happening, and it was just like everything, because like it was like all these different genres, and it was so cool. So I love stuff like that. I love when the performances are just like, actually, like I'm gonna sing some songs now, even though like you weren't expecting that. Anyway, maybe a dream show is like there's a comedian, a poet, a music act, and then
mhm.
like I don't know, maybe a puppet show. Oh, and a projector. Yeah.
And a projector. Nice.
Yeah.
I love it. All right,
What about
let's
you?
see what this question is. So for me, I was at like a Chicano Batman show. Uh,
Oh my God, I love them.
they're cool. And the opener
Yeah.
was phenomenal. This woman, Angelica Garcia, I hadn't heard of her, and then she like crushed it at the show. I immediately like was like, all right, let me listen to all these songs. Um,
I'm gonna look her up too.
yeah, she's cool. Uh, but I was like, I would love like this energy feels so good in here, and like people are there's just like a buzz at good concerts, and it made me think about like how could I do a poetry show or something, like how could I have this type of energy at a poetry event? So I
Yeah.
haven't figured it out, but like I'd love to find a way to like maybe it's collaborating with music. I mean, for me, like you said, the connection between poetry and comedy is obvious. You know what I
Oh
mean? Like
yeah.
it's not
Yeah.
too much of a leap. Uh,
Yeah.
but something like that where everyone is standing and maybe dancing. I don't know. I'm thinking about it.
That sounds cool.
Yeah, I love music. All right, so we
Me
have
too.
a question from Wayne. It says, for Melissa, do you think more about your work on the page or is it meant to be read out loud?
Um, I think I like, but I think they just like exist together. Um, I feel like if you don't read out loud your poems, you're like missing like you're gonna miss something musically, and like poetry is music, so you have to at least like read them in your head out loud. Yeah, that's like so important. But I don't know. I don't know. I expect people to be like in a group reading it out loud.
Has anyone told you any cool stories about like encountering your work in public or sharing your work in public?
Ooh, um, probably. I think I think something really cute that happened was for my book release, these two girls took a bus from Boston, and then they came up to me and they were like, we had a YA day, and we went to the museum, and then we came here, and I was really touched by that it was just like a memory of their friendship like ended in a night of like reading my poems.
Wow.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
I love that. Once again, if anybody else has a question, you can ask in the chat. I don't see any other ones at the moment. Also, I should say thank you to Madison Street Books for hosting us. If you don't have Melissa's book, yeah, you should get it from Madison Street Books. You're here. Why not get a copy?
Do it.
Yeah. Oh, look. Madison Street Book just dropped the links to both of our books, so check that out.
Hey.
Let's see. I can ask you another question while we wait. I'm curious about, so I was looking at the cast of characters in your book again, and the last character is a character named Melissa Lozada-Oliva. And I was wondering, like, what is your relationship to that Melissa? Like, did you add Melissa as a character to kind of say there is no kind of separation between myself and the person in this book? Did you do it to create more separation, or like how do you think of that?
I think of it as like, okay, I think that maybe the only way to tell this is with a story. So one time I was in Puerto Rico with someone I was dating at the time, and we were just like sitting on a curb, and he was narrating this dog who was in a yard, and he was just like pretending to be the dog. And he was like, the dog keeps taking my bones. Or no, these people want my bones, and I don't want to let them have my bones. And it was so funny to me. And then he was like, I want to surprise everybody. They don't know it's been me the whole time. And I thought that was really funny, like the dog wants. And also just like the idea of saying like, it's been me the whole time. Like that's a plot twist in so many movies. And just the fact that he was like projecting himself onto the dog. And like whenever we tell stories, like we are talking about other people and we're bringing them into ourselves. But it is just like us. And maybe there's something lonely about that, but maybe it is this like poetic tradition, this traditional poetic thing of like carrying things like with us and like the stories we tell. But so yeah, I think, and all that to say, like the Melissa in the book like is me but not me, or she is like a tool for me to like tell this weird story. Yeah
I love that a lot. And a couple things stand out. Like one, it makes so much sense to me because there's like, I'm sure you've seen all the memes of like the speaker of the poems and me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so those are pretty fun. And so it makes sense just to be like, to like further mess with people in some ways and like just be like, the speaker is me and it isn't like, whatever you want to do with it, I guess. But also when you talk about like the tradition of poets carrying something, the thing that jumped out to me is like, especially early on, the thing that the poet in the book is carrying is like this whole. And so it's funny, or maybe not funny, but it's, to me, like it's something that I noticed was like repetition of a whole and how the poet attempts to grapple with that whole and like what it means that's like what they're carrying,
Right. Yeah. And exactly. Yeah, like an emptiness that they're trying to fill so hard. Yeah.
Let me check to see if we have any other questions. What's going on? Madison Street Books.
Ask anything.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I don't know if you want to say that. Who knows who's in here?
Oh, no. Yeah, that's good point.
Ask anything. Do not ask anything. This is not Reddit. Yeah, I don't see any other questions. I lost my page with questions. Let's see. Almost
The
anything. Yeah.
chat is like repeating everything. Is that? Don't be shy. Feel free to ask almost anything. Don't be shy. Feel free to ask almost anything.
Yeah.
Cool. Well,
Do you think we should call it? I don't see any other questions.
yeah. I could read like another poem.
Yeah, do you want to close us out by reading another poem? And then if we get a question, that's cool. And if not,
Yeah.
we can say goodbye to
Cool.
everybody.
Yeah, sweet. So I'm gonna find what I was talking about. So bringing Selena back to life causes this like ripple in the universe, and the ripple is like allows Yolanda-Saldivar, her murderer, to break out of prison. Chaos ensues. Yolanda is a human, but not real. But so she, we have empathy for her, but she still has the ability to make choices and mistakes. She betrays Melissa. I'm not going to say how and what she does, but then she leaves a note. Yolanda leaves a note. You think every story is about you. I understand. When you are denied yourself, you must insert yourself. You use the tools around you and you make a mess. You fuck up the drywall. There's dust so tiny that it gets into your lungs. It kills you eventually. But wasn't that better than trying to find yourself in the junkyard of Latinidad, picking up old teacups and swearing that you love this cup so much, that it changed your life already, that you'll sip from it forever? You will talk breathlessly about your latest fixation, and your friends will shake their legs, wonder when they can finally check their phones. And who are your friends, do you think? And do you believe you are loved? Tell me, is every party you throw just to see who would show up at your funeral? I know. You think I am extreme. You think I am an accelerationist. You think I am imbalanced. You think I need help. But please, tell me the name of the person you would die for. Tell me about your precious career. Tell me about confessional poetry. Tell me about how you've turned everyone you've ever met into a poem. You can't immortalize everybody. You can't just bring people back to life. I killed her, okay? I killed her just to see myself better. But what are you doing here with your eyes? Cool.
Awesome. We have a bunch of questions now.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah, that worked out. All right. So from Viviana, it says, for both, what's your favorite kind of poem to write or topic to write about?
I think that changes for me. I have eras. I want to write about food more. Yeah.
Why food?
I read this book Latitude by Natasha Rao, and she just like has food in her poems. They're not necessarily like odes.
I think Melissa's frozen. Am I frozen? Okay. Only her. Okay, cool. I mean, not cool. So hopefully Melissa can join us again in a second. Waiting for Melissa Lozada-Oliva to reconnect. In the meantime, listen, now is a great time to take a commercial break, support Madison Street Books, and go buy Melissa's book. Definitely recommend that.
Buy both Melissa and Jose's books. They're both fantastic. Well, as we try to see if I can get. It looks like Melissa's trying to reconnect. While she does, I normally save this for the end, but I'll ask you now. Do you have anything coming up that you want to plug? Any events, any work that's coming out, any, I don't know, YouTube shows, whatever?
Yeah, that's a good question. What do I have coming out? Um, no, I'm writing a lot and I'm working on a few different things. There's a collaboration with a photographer that will hopefully be out. Hey, Melissa's back.
She's
Hey,
back.
I returned. Yay.
It's all good. Yeah, so I'm just writing right now.
Cool.
Cool.
Melissa, the question was, do you have anything you want to plug? Any things that are coming up soon?
Um, yeah. I might be the same as you. I'm just kind of working on stuff. Um, I might be doing this new podcast where that's like 15 minutes long, called like The Twist. And I just talk about different movie twists and I have like a guest on and like talk about like what it means when in like history for that twist to happen. So like when the twist is love or the twist is incest or the twist is it was me the whole time.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so I'm excited about that. You should come on it if you have a favorite twist.
I love
um,
that. Yeah, I have to think about what my favorite movie twist is.
yeah. And yeah, I'm kind of just writing too. I'm writing short stories, trying to do screenplays, but yeah, yeah.
Awesome.
Cool.
Um, and then, so are we out of time, or do you want to get back to these
No,
questions?
y'all can definitely get back to the questions.
Are you okay on time, Melissa?
Cool. Yeah, I'm good. Yeah.
Okay. Um, so for me, my favorite kind of poem to write about, yeah, I don't know. It kind of depends. Some things have emotional heat one moment and not the next. So it's whatever is kind of feeling emotionally resonant when I'm writing. Um, the next question says, for Melissa, were there any Selena songs that were particularly inspirational during the writing of the book, lyrically or sonically, and why?
Um, I mean, yeah, I think, well, the poem is divided into four different parts, and those are lines from Como la Flor. And I really was, struck by how that song is about just like watching someone you love be happy without you. And also the line "Me marcho hoy," which means like I wither today, and how she's like withering emotionally, but then, and she doesn't mean it like this, but maybe she does. Like we all are withering today. Um, we all like are like every day is a little closer to death. I'm really morose. I have it tattooed on me now though. I have a rose. I have like a dying rose and it said "Me marcho hoy."
Oh, wow.
um yeah. um but so yeah, I think that poem, and then El Chico del Apartamento 512, and of course Dreaming of You, because that song is so weird and literally just about how you'd want to be alone thinking about somebody than with that person. um yeah.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, you kind of ruined my relationship to that song. You know what I mean? Like it came on Spotify the other day, and I was like, yeah, this is kind of a weird song. Uh,
It's odd.
yeah, no, that's a good point. Um,
Yeah.
all right, and then the last question, it looks like it says, for Melissa, what's your favorite Selena song? So kind of similar, and does it change over time? So we can do it for today. What's your
um
favorite Selena song for today?
I think my favorite one for today, I just did karaoke during this event online yesterday, and I sang Si una vez. That one is just
Mm,
very good, and it's really dramatic. Um, and like good song to sing. Like it's like a song that someone sings when they're drunk in front of someone else's house. And yeah, that's my favorite one.
Perfect.
Cool.
All right. I think that's a good place to end it. Once again, thank you to Madison Street Books. Oh, you're back. Cool. You can tell the people what you need to tell them.
Yeah, of course. Well, if you guys have like another minute, I like to end with a few lightning round questions for both of you.
Oh, okay, sure.
Yeah.
We got started with one. What's your go-to karaoke song?
Somewhere Only We Know by Keen.
Okay.
What about you?
If they have it, it's probably Volver, Volver by Vicente Fernandez, which is another song that's like kind of perfect for singing when you're like drunk and in your feelings. You know what I mean? So yeah, that one.
Cool. Go-to meal, like your favorite meal.
Ooh. I love breakfast, egg avocado, chipotle mayo on a roll.
Nice.
Fancy.
Yeah. Bodega sandwich.
I love it. My go-to meal is probably just like chicken and rice is my go-to, especially for lunch.
Yeah.
Sure. What is your favorite media you're consuming right now? Show, podcast, music, book?
Do you have one?
The thing that has kind of gotten me through quarantine is video games. I did not used to play video games all the time, and now I play video games a lot. So probably video games.
What have you played most recently?
I usually play NBA 2K, so a basketball game, and I get really into it. And probably need to take a break. Like I play it too much, honestly.
That sounds relaxing. People have been telling me to play video games. It's like a good way to do nothing, right?
Yeah. What I like about it is it's also like it becomes a moment for like to talk socially with people. You know what I mean? Like I play with a regular group of people and we just catch up every day, but we don't have to be on Zoom. We can like be doing something kind of aimlessly, kind of fun and just like catch up. So it's pretty social too, which is I think what's hooked me. It's like I don't even really care about the game that much, but getting a chance to like talk with people is cool. Right.
You're a Virgo, right?
I don't have any Virgo in my chart. I'm a Aquarius, Aquarius sun, Capricorn moon, and a Gemini rising.
Whoa, cool. I'm a Capricorn moon also.
Oh, cool. And I'm a Gemini rising.
You have double Virgo, right?
Yeah, double Virgo.
Okay. Yeah. Wait, so what's your answer to the question? What's your favorite type of media to consume right now?
I really like that show Midnight Mass about the vampires, the like Catholic vampires.
It tracks another kind of morose thing.
Sick. All right. Well, and then I normally end with if there's anything you want to plug, but I think we already did that. Cool. So one more time, I'd like to thank you both for joining us tonight. This was definitely a fun conversation. I could listen to you read your poems like all evening. I'm sorry that we couldn't be in person doing this all together, but I appreciate you taking your time to someday.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
And again, you can buy both of their books either from our website or from your local indie bookstore. Just maybe not the like global mega corporation.
Exactly.
But I can let you all get on with your evenings, have a drink, go do some karaoke, do whatever. But thank you both again.
Oh yeah.
All right. Bye everybody. Bye Melissa.
Bye guys.
Thank you so much.
Bye. Have a good night.